What I will say that the Trump administration 100% is going to impact, or is already impacting, is net neutrality. Yeah, this is the first of many casualties from Chevron doctrine decision last year. Net neutrality rules struck down by appeals court. After nearly 2 decades of fighting, the battle over regulations that treat broadband providers as utilities came to an end on Thursday. A federal appeals court struck down the FCC's landmark net neutrality rules on Thursday, ending a nearly 2-decade effort to regulate broadband internet providers as utilities. Let me see if there's a good video explaining net neutrality for anyone who doesn't. Oh, wow. There's a video from John Oliver from a decade ago explaining net neutrality.
Net neutrality is actually hugely important. Essentially, it means that all data has to be treated equally, no matter who creates it. It's why the internet is a weirdly level playing field. And startups can supplant established brands. That's how Facebook supplanted MySpace, which supplanted Friendster, which supplanted actually having any friends. Do you remember physically having friends? It was awful. You couldn't tap people's faces to make them go away. The point is, the internet in its current form is not broken, and the FCC is currently taking steps to fix that.
The FCC is endorsing new rules that could clear the way for a 2-tier system.
The rules would open the door for the first time for internet providers like Comcast and Verizon to charge tech companies to send content to consumers more quickly. Netflix, for example, might pay a premium to ensure that its customers can stream movies more reliably.
Some states already have put net neutrality laws on the books. California is one, so at least Denims is protected. Yes, I'm protected.
At a cost a startup competitor might not be able to afford.
No, this cannot happen. How else is my startup streaming video service Netflix going to compete? It's going to be America's one-stop resource for videos of men getting hit in the nuts. You don't even know you want it yet, that's why it's brilliant. Ending net neutrality would allow big companies to buy their way into the fast lane, leaving everyone else in the slow lane, although telecom companies would prefer that you put it in a slightly different way.
When you say fast lane and slow lane, it's a good illustration, but what you really should be talking about is a fast lane for everybody and a hyperspeed lane for others.
Bullshit.
Net neutrality is the idea that your pipe to the internet, whether that is your cable internet connection, your LTE wireless internet connection, however you are receiving information via the internet, that pipeline to the internet is not allowed to arbitrarily pick favorites in terms of the content that you consume. For example, if you like to use Google search and your roommate likes to use Bing search, your internet service provider can't say, well, Bing is paying us a lot of money, so we're going to slow down Google and Yahoo and their other search engine competitors to make Bing load fast.
He's right, although
that is a very good way to explain net neutrality. Yes. It's just like lobbying, but for the internet. Well, after 2 decades to regulate the internet providers as utilities, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit in Cincinnati said that the FCC lacked the authority to reinstate rules that prevented broadband providers from slowing or blocking access to internet content. In its opinion, a 3-judge panel pointed to a Supreme Court decision in June known as Loper-Bright that overturned a 1984 legal precedent that gave deference to government agencies on regulations. Applying Loper-Bright means we can end FCC's vacillations. The court ruled. The court's decision put an end to the Biden administration's hallmark tech policy, which had drawn impassioned support from consumer groups and tech giants like Google and fierce protests from telecommunication giants like Comcast and AT&T. FCC had voted in April to restore net neutrality regulations, which expand government oversight of broadband providers and aim to protect consumer access to internet. Regulations were put in place nearly a decade ago under the Obama administration and were aimed at preventing internet service providers like Verizon or Comcast from blocking or degrading the delivery of services from competitors like Netflix and YouTube. The rules were repealed under President-elect Donald Trump in his first administration, but they continued to be a contentious partisan issue that pit tech giants against broadband providers. Thursday's decision effectively concludes the back and forth battle. Brendan Carr, whom Mr. Trump has named the incoming FCC chair, has been a strong critic of net neutrality. The court's reliance on the Loper case in its ruling could also portend more lawsuits to hollow out federal regulations at the FCC and other agencies. The court's opinion puts to bed an issue that unnecessarily sucked up a lot of oxygen in tech and telecom for nearly 2 decades now. Yes, unnecessarily. Great. In a statement, Mr. Carr said that he was pleased by the decision and the work to unwind the Biden administration's regulatory overreach will continue. The court's decision doesn't affect state laws on net neutrality in California, Washington, and Colorado. Democrats at the FCC called on Thursday for Congress to create laws promoting net neutrality, signaling that the issue may continue to fester. Consumers across the country have told us again and again that they want an internet that is fast, open, and fair. Said Jessica Rosenworcel, the chairman of the FCC and a Democrat who has pushed for the reinstatement of the rules. It is clear now that Congress needs to heed their call, take up the charge for net neutrality, and put open internet principles in federal law. I'm sure Congress will do that. Guys, Congress will definitely do that. It's okay. Everybody knows that Congress does things that are for the people. FCC's interpretation of its authority to define broadband internet service akin to phone service exceeded legal definitions in the Telecommunications Act. FCC lacks the statutory authority to impose its desired net neutrality policies. It's so stupid because having a phone is almost as important, having internet access, free, fast internet access is almost as important as having like a phone or having like running water and electricity. Like it absolutely is a utility. But you don't understand, dude. The corporations, they need more money. Okay? The CEOs need more money. Okay? You don't understand. Elon Musk needs more money now. Then maybe if he has all of the money ever that ever gets created, he can finally have friends. The market no longer thinks it's a big deal and hasn't for a while. Recent years, the issue has lost much of its public momentum. We just need, you know what we need? We just need another John Oliver video on it. That's it. It's worked every single time. We just need one more. The term net neutrality was coined in 2003 by Tim Wu, a Columbia University law professor who warned that broadband internet service providers could become gatekeepers of internet access and block or charge for access to certain content. Well, bad time, I guess, to live somewhere that isn't California, Colorado, or Washington. Luckily, this doesn't impact me, smile. And surely it doesn't impact any of you guys, right? Because everybody lives in California. All of my friends on the computer live in California, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine, guys. It's okay. Also, I will say, if net neutrality becomes fucked, like say goodbye to any browsers loading at a reasonable time talking about Palestine. Like if you think AIPAC wouldn't lobby like crazy to make anything pro-Israel just like immediately show up on your fucking computer without your permission and everything else not, it's just, yeah. Is Ohio and California or am I cooked? No, it's in California. You're good. You're good. Don't worry, guys. I live in Washington. I can Google stuff for you guys.